Would you rather be the best at speaking every language or be the best at playing every instrument? Why? Ooh, that's tough. Speaking every language would be so amazing because you could communicate with literally anyone. You could talk to anyone on the whole planet, and I bet you could also get a fantastic, well-paid job with that skill. But I don't like people all that much. I'd find it much more personally satisfying to be able to play any instrument. How amazing it would be to be able to express myself with any instrument that exists. You could also be a musician, and that would be way better for me than being an interpreter. So I'd have to go with that. Speak every language. I've always wanted to speak T-Rex. Maybe if you speak its ancient tongue you'll be able to find one to actually use your talent on. Me too. But now I see all sorts of cool jobs. Can be on Star Trek Discovery as a Klingon. Write whatever software program I want, as I now know all programming languages. Get paid to go to concerts and do sign language for famous artists. Translate popular books into different languages. Oh heck yeah. I am actually bilingual. And people always ask me to translate songs or movies or whatever. It is hard to do. Especially if there are jokes or plays on words or whatever. It is hard getting the nuances of language. And some words are simply untranslatable. Language. If it's every language, it means I could speak dead languages and translate some of the oldest texts in the world. That would be super cool. James, I picked the language option all the way. Imagine all the old texts you could translate. Ted, why would you want to translate old texts? James, to learn their secrets, Ted. To gain their wisdom. Imagine if we could decipher Da Vinci's writings. Ted, we can and we have. He wrote in Italian. Also, he made lots of diagrams, so. James, well, I'm not talking about his regular writings, I'm talking about his code. You know, the ancient code of Da Vinci. Ted, James, if you knew all the instruments, you'd be the best musician in the world. You'd be insanely rich and famous. Who gives a shit about some old code? James, oh Ted. You simple, naive, unworldly son of a. You don't think the person who knows the most languages in the world would be more rich and famous than some clarinet sucker? You think diddling some violin is going to impress people more than telling them to F off in Mandarin? Ted, people tell you to F off in Mandarin every time we eat at a Chinese restaurant. James, and I've been impressed every time. Ted, look, I can prove that you'd be more famous as a musician. Let me ask you this: who's the best musician in the world? James, Bieber. Ted, right, so wait, what? No, it's not Justin Bieber. James, people like the Biebs. Ted, sure he's famous, but I'm thinking like Michael Jackson. You know what, it doesn't matter. The point is, you know who Justin Bieber is. Now, do you know who speaks the most languages? James, Ziad Faza, obviously. Ted, who the hell is that? James, don't act like you don't know the great Faza Ted. Ted, that can't be right. Alexa. Who speaks the most languages in the world? Alexa, obviously the great Ziad Faza Ted, you simple naive unworldly son of a. Ted, did you program her to say that? James, this is the way. Ted, what the hell is Da Vinci's code anyways? If it's a code, it's not a language, so this wouldn't apply. James, it's less a code per SE as much as it is a book. It's written in English, but if I was the best at English, I'd finally understand it. It only says you could speak them. I don't think you could read the languages, so you wouldn't be able to translate. Yeah, like my friend in high school was in Spanish too, and he was fluent in speaking Spanish, but not reading or writing it. Once he learned how to put pen to paper and write what he was saying, he dropped the class second semester. Speak every language so I could travel the world. Edit. LMAO, I know I can travel without knowing every language. I just meant IT would be easier to do so if I could communicate with everyone. Okay. Edit 2. Since people keep replying, I'll just explain myself here. I'm a big people person and love talking to people, so I'd love to be able to go to another country and talk to locals with ease and be able to go past the typical basic conversations. I think it would also help me get to know various cultures better. On a side note, I consume a lot of shows and music from other cultures, and even with translations I miss out on a lot of meaning. Learning more languages would give me more perspective. Less barriers between me and the world. So I guess me wanting to speak every language well goes past my initial travel reasoning. Now please give me a break. I wrote that comment at 4 a.m. LOL. Imagine you speak every language. And there were powerful people that travel all over the place interacting with people of dozens of nationalities who have to hire trustworthy translators everywhere they go. People like diplomats and heads of state and negotiators for international conglomerates worth billions of dollars. Now suddenly they only need you. One person. One background check. One relationship. That's worth real money. You wouldn't even need to be the actual translator. Does someone to verify every translator the people they're meeting with is translating accurately? As a professional translator with musical aspirations, this is one of the hardest questions for me. Obviously, the languages would make me the most useful person in the office, and I'd be set for life, but being able to play every instrument has been a dream of mine since I was a kid, and it would allow me to make all the music I've always wanted to but didn't know anyone with the right skills and interests. I'm also a translator with musical aspirations. You said it way better than I did. Could we split the difference and be the best at 10 important languages and 10 important instruments? You two need to meet up and make a band called Lost in Translation. Just saying. I am a world-traveling professional musician. I can play a handful of instruments, but I can only speak one language. To have access to a foreign language while abroad in, say, India, where there are many, would be a superpower. To sing to people in their own tongues everywhere I go would be a treasure to myself and my audience. The absolute hardest and most dangerous part about traveling the world is not knowing the language. So many people keep talking about monetizing either, but the opportunities language would open, to go anywhere and be able to fit in, experience any culture, enjoy any book/song, etc. That's pure freedom. Also great to learn if you're highly social and want fans the world over. I don't think people realize the significance of this premise. You'd be the very best in the world at every musical instrument. Better than Hendrix, Page, Clapton, SRV, Chuck Berry, David Gilmour, Van Halen, Prince, Mark Knopfler, etc. at the guitar. Better than Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin, Debussy, Thelonious Monk, Keith Jarrett, Duke, Art Tatum, and every 9-year-old prodigy ever at piano. Better than Miles at the trumpet and Coltrane at the sax. Better than Gene Krupa, Stuart Copeland, John Bonham, Danny Carey, Neil Peart, Buddy Rich, etc. at the drums. Better than Les Claypool, Jaco Pastorius, Mingus, Bootsy Collins, Wooten, Cliff Burton, Geddy Lee at the bass. All at the same time. You could easily make it as a studio or live session musician, but if that musical ability came with a bit of songwriting/compositional talent/luck, then you could release some of the greatest music ever. Nobody who has a legitimate discography of some of the greatest music ever remains a nobody for long, especially in the age of the internet. Obviously, one could make an argument that songwriting ability matters far more than raw musicianship, and that person would probably point to artists like the Beatles and Kurt Cobain, who were far from the greatest musicians of their respective ages or any age, but still managed to write timeless, classic, hit music. But raw musicianship can still go a long way in allowing one to manifest one's creativity. The best at every instrument, meaning I'm actually the most skilled musician of every instrument in the world? That is infinitely more valuable than whatever the best at every language means. I could hire private tutors and translators with all the cash I'd be rolling in. Edit, all y'all are imagining I'd use music skills to be in a crappy pop or rock band. You have any idea how much you'd be paid to be the premier instrumentalist in the best symphony orchestra in the world, and being able to switch to any instrument needed? You pick languages and there's no way you're not working for a government somewhere dealing with confidential info every day. You can go right ahead and pick that one. I could work as a USP driver and say enjoy your delivery in every language. It would be great to speak parcel tongue. Oh my god. Imagine not just being a fantastic, dynamic, engaging speaker not just in your native language, but every language. Even most bilingual people I know lose a lot of wit or nuance when speaking in their second language. My poor buddy sounds like an insecure jackass when speaking English, but a really cool, chill dude in Spanish. Being the best speaker and retaining that in other languages, my god. One step closer to achieving my dream of being a world-traveling stand-up comedian. Speaking every language, cause then if two people are talking about me in a different language, I can humiliate them by telling them I understood every word. I'd rather be the best at playing every instrument. First off, the music you could create would be unbelievable. Secondly, the feeling of connection you get with others when you see them vibing to your music is unrivaled. It's like the greatest high in the world without any of the negative consequences of drugs. And making people feel good is so rewarding. It's sad that so many people that picked this mentioned how they could monetize it. Of course, everyone needs money, but there's so much more to music than money or fame. I would choose this power even if I never made any money from it. Language. I could finally figure out what the hell my cat wants. Hope you liked this video. Please subscribe to our channel. Make sure to hit the bell icon, and don't forget to share.